Joining us now to explore this topic is attorney Chris Regan. He handles catastrophic motor vehicle accidents like the one in this trial. Also, Mike Brooks, an expert in so many areas involving our highways and byways, joins us. Thank you so much. First, Chris, let me ask you, when you look at this case and you look at how dark it was, you look at it was an interstate, you look at the driver of the car was driving 63 in a 60-mile-per-hour zone, could he have been charged with anything?
I think it would be very difficult to make out a criminal charge under West Virginia law in these circumstances. This is not a civil case. Of course, we're talking about a criminal case, and so mere negligence is not enough for a criminal charge, even if it involves death in West Virginia. The standard the prosecution would be up against there would be reckless disregard of human life. So you would have to show something well over and above ordinary careless driving, something like speeding, and something that rises to the level of reckless disregard of human life. One case in West Virginia describes that as driving too fast for conditions in the rain while intoxicated. So we haven't heard any facts come out that rise to that level. So I think it would be very difficult to see that rise to the level of a criminal charge against the driver.
Right. We didn't hear any facts. Maybe it's not relevant to this case. The defense could have brought it out on cross-examination. What about, what are some of the things that caused this, do you think, besides this little boy just panicking, wanting to help his mother? What about, driving too close to the vehicle in front of you, or driving behind a vehicle that's larger than you are so you can't really see what's ahead?
Well, those circumstances certainly, can contribute to a motor vehicle wreck involving a pedestrian accident. But the thing that stands out about this case, and again points away from criminal liability for the driver, is that this is on the interstate, where a driver is not anticipating, obviously, any pedestrian traffic there. So they're not necessarily going to be looking for that. You do want to always observe traffic conditions ahead of you and not follow too closely. But even if those circumstances were present, even if this was something you could get a ticket for following too closely or not observing conditions ahead of you, that would probably not rise to the level of reckless disregard of human life, such that you could take this to vehicular homicide or involuntary manslaughter.
Mike Brooks, a lot of people think, the defense thinks, that because there was just nothing to charge this driver with, nor should he be charged, he was doing his duty, and his testimony really shows he was focused on this car that was coming for him, that led to this prosecution, leading it to be a murder case and a kidnapping case, so overcharging because somebody needed to be responsible for Jaleel's death.
Person who should not have any responsibility is Clyde Brown, the man who unfortunately was on I-77 at night, Gene, and is the one who hit and killed Jaleel. But he wasn't expecting to see a little boy in the middle of the interstate. He wasn't expecting to see this vehicle in the fast lane. He didn't have time to react, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, was this little boy. And we even heard the medical examiner, Gene, say that this was an accident, and that this man basically had no way to know that this was going to happen right in front of him, and he had no time to react. So, no, I think he has a burden enough that he has to live with this for the rest of his life, and there's no way that he can be held criminally responsible for this.
Yeah, he sure does have to live with it for the rest of his life. Can you imagine? Chris Regan, looking forward, people have flat tires on the roadway. People have issues, maybe domestic issues, or something happens in the car, they have to get out, they have to try to seek help. What should you do? How should you do it so you don't get hit like Jaleel did?
Well, there's a number of rules that apply. I mean, anytime one has to be over to the side of the highway, the first most crucial piece of advice, of course, is to pull as far away from the traveling lanes as you possibly can. Now, people are advised, I know they often don't, but people are advised to have flares or those reflective traffic triangles in their car, so you can set that up. But one piece of advice that I was always told is basically never get out of your car when it's on the interstate unless that's absolutely necessary. And today, in an atmosphere where you have cell phones, you can call a tow truck, you can call AAA, you can call the state police, you can get some help before you get out of your vehicle because you're exposing yourself to a dangerous condition. The speed limit in those areas in West Virginia is 70 miles an hour. People aren't necessarily going to be looking for you. If it's dark, you're not wearing reflective clothing because you didn't plan to be out on the roads, right? If you're jogging or bicycling, it's a dangerous situation. So it's never advisable to leave your vehicle on the side of the road. To get out of your vehicle on the side of the road on the highway, avoid it at all.
You know, Chris, you are joining us from West Virginia. I think that's important for everybody to know. What is this span of freeway like in West Virginia? We know an 18-wheeler was on it. Obviously, it's well-traveled.
Well, it certainly is. It's a major artery through the south central part of our state. And in particular, West Virginia, people may not be familiar with the type of terrain we have here, but it's all hills and curves. There's not too many straight lines in West Virginia. So every time you go anywhere on the interstate, you are always coming around a sweeping curve, coming over a hill, coming down a hill, and you just don't have long lines of visibility like you might see, in the Midwest. This is not Nebraska. So it's all the more dangerous to be out of your vehicle on the interstate because a person is going to have a very limited amount of time to react to that type of situation.
Very, very true. All right, Chris Regan joining us from West Virginia. Thank you so much. And Mike Brooks, thanks again.